So I should now theoretically be able to turn this on and that airbag won't go off. Now this is always a nervous moment, because you just don't know if you've got everything right, or if there's another issue somewhere, if there's wires touching somewhere you don't know. There could be loads of issues why an airbag could still go off. Even though I've replaced everything for this car to stop that from happening, you are still never 100% sure. So I'm going to film this, because if it goes off, we might as well get it on film. This one's not going to go off, so I'm okay with that one, because like I said, it's not connected. But that one, you just don't know, potentially could. So I'm just going to keep the camera on there, and I'm going to turn the ignition on, and we're going to see, you should see the ignition come on in the middle of the dash.
See, this is the new merch that's coming out, and you better get it today, because it'll almost be sold out. Please support my daddy with new merch. All the links will be down below in this subscription below, so you can get this amazing, fantastic cup that has ever been born in the cup history.
Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Yes, we're working on this Twingo again, and I thought, because this is a perfect city car, little car, lots of people have these. And no, I cannot find a scrapped GT Twingo anywhere in Ireland. Can't find them. So I found a couple of crashed Twingos. The GT version, obviously the engine's different. Lucky enough we don't need anything on the engine. The front bumper is different. Just different shape, different things in it, but that's not the end of the world. We can stick a standard bumper on this. That's not going to cause any difference. All the body panels are the same. It's just a few little differences with the engine inside and stuff like that. But managed to find a scrapyard that has all the parts. But when they started stripping it, they found that the front cross member was damaged, that the headlights were damaged, and I couldn't get anywhere. So what I had to do is, I haven't got a front cross member yet, which I was kind of hoping to do first, but what I've done is I've completely straightened the chassis legs out. You can see that's straight, that's straight. The front is still obviously damaged, but it's now in the right position. You can see how much more we've got it away from the battery box. That was all caved in to here, so that's all been moved out. So I know I've got, well, the chassis legs were never bent, but I know I've got that in the right position. So what I can do is I can start putting parts on now. So I'm going to start putting the radiator in. I'm going to start doing a few bits. Headlights, same thing again with the headlights. They had a couple of tabs broke, but again I had to get them. So I'm going to do a separate video on how to weld the plastic weld with the new kit I got from Hobby Tools. Inexpensive, and it's absolutely brilliant. So that's a separate video. And I've managed to source a couple of wings, but then one of the wings were damaged, so I've got a bonnet instead, because I paid for all the parts up front because they told me they were all fine, and to try and get your money back from a scrapyard is just too difficult. It was miles and miles away. It was all paid by credit card, so it was just easy to get extra bits from them than trying to get money back. So the only thing I haven't got essentially is the front cross member, but we can work around that for the minute. Oh, and these bits didn't come. I did order these bits as well, just to replace them, because they bolt on and bolt off. Even though mine are slightly damaged, I could repair them. It's not the end of the world, but I paid for new ones and they've got them, so we're just going to wait for them to be delivered. So what I did is I just tied it to the van. I pulled out this so I know it's completely right as regards this and here, obviously this. And so what I'm first thing I'm going to do is put the radiator back in, completely bleed the system, and there's the bleed nipple, by the way, look, right there. Completely bleed the system and see just how good the engine. Now I know the engine is good, but just let it heat up, let it go through everything, make sure the fan switch is on, make sure the wiring is everything good. Then what we can do is we can maybe go inside, start doing the airbag kit, because there's still a lot of work to do before we even get the front cross member. By the time we've done all that, hopefully I'll be able to source a front cross member from somewhere. Right, I've just checked it. The radiator is slightly different. We've got a couple of connections on the old radiator and just one on the new one. All the connections and all the mounts are the same, it's just slightly different. So we've got the fan switch and everything here, so I can still make it work. We've got the connection on there, so I can just cut the connection off there, solder it all back together, it's going to be fine. It's just more work that, you know, didn't plan on doing, but it's not the end of the world. And I can mount this somewhere there on that fan cowling, so that will all be fine. It will work. It's just obviously a little bit annoying. So let me take off the pipes that the scrapyard just cut off, put them back onto ours, fill it with water, check the car, make sure it all works fine, and we'll go from there. The radiator's in, it's sitting nice, all the pipes line up, which is good. It's just the connections there, which I'll sort out one of them. I've just got this resting just on top of the alternator, not on the belt, just on top of the alternator. Just going to put some water in, just flush the complete system out, because there's going to be a lot of crap in there, and then we can actually put antifreeze in once we know the system is sealed. I never like to, especially on a crash car, never put antifreeze in straight away. Just put water in and, you know, check the system, let it circulate. If it's an Opel or Vauxhall, don't do that, because they run at like 110 degrees, so you can't do that, unfortunately. The reason why I don't like doing it is because if there's a leak or something, you're wasting good antifreeze. So but with an Opel or Vauxhall, you kind of unfortunately have to do that, but with this I don't have to. So I'm just going to start this, let it let it bleed. I'm going to have to undo that bleed nipple there, which is just like a tyre valve. That's all it is. Just undo that. Once it starts squirting out of there, it's bled, and then I'll check it, make sure it's not leaking, and then we'll go from there. Okay, the car is starting. It is heating up, very, very temporally wired in, just so I know that the whole system is working before I do it properly. See if we can get this. You can see what this looks like. You have to be careful, because when this gets really hot, it's awkward to do. You can see it squirts out there. There's no, it's getting hot now. So when the engine's really hot, it's hard to do that, because you need to put your hand close to it and on it to undo that. So I'm just going to wait for this system to completely go through, wait for the fan to kick in, then I know it's working. Then I can check the leaks once I put it under pressure. There's no pressure on it at the minute, and then I can actually do it all properly. But this is the bit I need to do first. Right, the whole system is good. There's no leaks yet. Now I haven't put it under full pressure, but still you would have expected there to be a leak if there was by now. These holes are more or less lined up. I've only lightly put that on there just to give the bottle the right height to allow it to bleed better. It's getting nice and warm. Bottom pipe's getting hot, top pipe's getting hot, radiator's getting hot. We've got heat inside. So hopefully now, any minute, these fans should kick in, and that will tell me that the whole system is working. Once it does that, I will then put the cap on, and I will double check again to make sure there's no leaks. Then I'll completely drain the water out and put brand new antifreeze in with water. And then I'm waiting for these parts, but what I can mostly do in the meantime is maybe put the lights on. No, I can't put the lights on yet. So what I'll mostly do after that is I'll mostly do the inside, do all the airbag system on the inside. That's what I'll do. Right, with this being a turbo Twingo and a slightly sportier model than the standard one, the steering wheel on the sportier one is smaller, but the airbag module inside is the same, which is key. So there's a little bit of damage on this steering wheel, so I was hoping I could change this steering wheel, because this steering wheel actually looks a bit better, but it's bigger. So I'm just going to replace this. Now, do not, under any circumstances, plug new modules in unless you have either cleared the crash data or put new modules in and all your crash sensors and stuff like that, because the chances are you're going to pop the new airbags, which you don't want. I'm just going to take this off here now for the time being. I'm just going to take this off. Not going to connect anything yet. It's just because I'm waiting for this bloody thing to turn the fan on. So all you do is you get a screwdriver in there, look, and you just unhook, if I can do it one-handed, unhook that from there. I can't do it one-handed, but anyway, screwdriver in there, unhook that on both sides, the airbag will pop out. A little bit more difficult when it's on the car, but it's simple enough. Actually, when it's on the car, it's relatively easy. So we get the screwdriver in, can you see, in here, and just do that, and with your finger pull the airbag towards you. See that? That now side is disconnected. Do the same thing that side. Now they do say to stop the car, leave it for 5 minutes before you disconnect it. It's no harm, but this airbag has gone off, so it makes no difference in this case. Obviously you do not connect anything when the ignition's on or when the engine is running, no matter what. But this one is completely gone off, so it's not really a big deal. And they also say you do not under any circumstances test them with a multimeter, and I've proven it's just not the case. You can test them with a multimeter. So we need to take this tab off first. It's not coming off for some reason. It's been stubborn. Wow, that's been very stubborn. Be careful we don't. Wow, that is being really stubborn. I have to do it with 2 hands. This centre should just pop out, and then the tab just comes off. It's nice and easy. Right, more trouble. It's completely broke, but it's melted. Look, it's completely melted into it, and I couldn't get it out. It just completely melted together. So it's completely and utterly broke. So now I need a new clock spring. Unbelievable. This is how it should look. Do you know, no melted plastic, just comes out nice and easy. It should have come out on camera, but no, completely melted. Don't know how that's happened. Anyway, I now need a clock spring, but that's not going to stop me from doing anything. It's just bloody annoying. I could, just for the time being, stick the new airbag in because it's not connected, just to make it look a little bit nicer, which I think I will do. We can just shove that in the back there and just put the new airbag in, just for looks, not for any other reason. But yeah, melted. What a nightmare. Unbelievable. Also, I know what some people might be thinking, well, the airbags have gone off, so that's why it happened. I have done, I don't know how many crash cars and replaced the airbags, and not once have I ever seen this. Now, I'm not saying this hasn't happened because the airbag's gone off. I've just never seen it. I've never seen it before personally. So yeah, and I've done loads of crash cars, so I've just never seen it. But it could be a crash thing on this particular Twingo. Maybe all of them do it when they crash. I honestly don't know. I just now know that I need a clock spring. Yeah, great. Hey, the fan's working. There we go. So, system is now under pressure, completely bled. Fan is working. Is it just slowing down, or is it just doing an ultra low speed? Well, what we can do is, I've been monitoring it. 95 degrees. Oh, it's all inactive now, so that's just slowing down. Yeah, that's just slowing down. So this is really good thing about a scan tool, so you can see. What I did do off camera is I did activate the fan just to see if it was working, if we had control, and we did have control. I'll quickly show you that, and then I'll show you, well, first what I'll do is we'll rev it up. So we'll rev it up. You can see the ultra high speed relay is connected. The ultra low speed, the unit speed, sorry, relay is connected. So what will happen is here now, when it gets to a certain temperature, you'll see see now it's activated the low speed relay, and it said basically turn the fan on to low speed. We'll just let it keep going a little bit more. It'll do that first, depending on the cars, to see if it can cool it down, and if it needs more, it will then turn on the high-speed fan. Should do any second now. There we go. It's active. As you can see, it's spinning. There's no point in me showing. All I did is activated it manually through the scan tool. But you can see, yeah. So what I've got to do now is let this cool down and drain all the water out, and actually put proper antifreeze in. You can see already, look, it's at 99, 98. It's just switched off, slowing down, 97. So it's a fairly high thermostat in these. Most would be, say, 102 to 105, sorry, 95 to 102. Just gone down to 95 and everything's switched off. So yeah, that's great news. Happy about that. We can continue now with everything else. Right, I'm not 100% where it is, but it's normally under the likes of here. So what we'll do is we'll just take off this centre plate. It's normally around here or underneath here, but regardless, this has to come off. It's just going to be a couple of torques and maybe something at the bottom here. What have we got down there? Have we got anything? Ah, yeah, look, just another nut. So let me quickly whip that off and we'll see. Here's the airbag module. So we've got the airbag module here. We've got the 2 seat igniters here. And then we've got the passenger's airbag, driver's airbag, but obviously now we need a clock spring, as you know. And yeah, then once we get the clock spring, should be good to go and turn off all the lights as regards the airbag system. What I could do, I suppose, I could put that one in, put the seatbelt igniters in, replace that, and then all I should have left is a driver's airbag module fault. And before I disconnect anything, I'm going to check exactly what faults I've got, because I know I've got an airbag light on. Let's just start it up. We've got an airbag light on and the spanner light, but I don't know what codes we've got. So let me whip this off first to see exactly where this box is, and then we'll go from there. Right, so I was right, it is under there. It's actually only 2 torques because the bottom bolt here just slides off. It's not even it's just like it holds it in place now to undo it. So just 2 torques, this comes out. And then just behind the carpet is the airbag module. There's a carpet and there's a plastic this little plastic tray which protects it. It's got little stands off on it. Now what we need to do is we need to make sure the numbers match before we do anything. What I should really do is I should plug this into my computer and take a reading from it, so I have this stored as crash data, because then what I can do, depending on what EEPROM is in it, I will be able to versionize that module. But because they're so cheap to buy the whole kit, and I had to buy the whole kit and this comes with it anyway, it kind of makes sense just to change it. But that's what I should do, so I should get the information off this first. But anyway, I'm going to plug this in now and see exactly what fault codes we've got. We're obviously going to have a slightly different fault code on this because this is now just disconnected, so it's not going to know. That one's gone off. I want to see if the seat igniters have gone off, and I just want to see what error codes we've got basically. Right, so as you can see, everything has gone off. The ones that are in the memory is because obviously maybe I have taken out the driver's airbag and it can't recognize that it's gone off. But we've got passenger's buckle, we have driver's buckle, yeah, driver's buckle open. So both of the seat belts have gone. So, but obviously we've got new seat belts, everything. So what I'm going to do is, yeah, just start replacing everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is take out that module and disconnect it. Turn off the ignition. Now you can turn off the battery, you can disconnect the battery, it's entirely up to yourself. No harm in doing it, I suppose. You know, not the end of the world. But what I'm going to do is I'm then going to take off the passenger's airbag, which you can't quite see, but can you see under here? Where is it? There we go, look. Them 2 bolts there, and there's just one. Can you see it? Can you see it? Can you see it? Anyway, 2 bolts right under there. That will take off that. Then I have to take out the seats and swap these, plug them in, and then the last thing I'll do is put the new computer on. Then what we should have is we should only have an issue with, we're still going to have an airbag light on, but we should only have an issue with the front, the driver's side airbag, because it's not going to see it because it's just not there. So all the other error codes should go, and it's just a case of waiting for the clock spring and then put the clock spring off, and then our airbag system is fully live again. So I'm not going to be able to film most of that because you're not going to be able to see, but just let me get cracking. Now a good thing to do is mark it in some way. I put a big X on that, as you can see. Mark it in some way, because believe me, it's very easy to get these both muddled up and you will not know which one it is, and you put the wrong one in and behoof, you're in serious trouble. So mark it before you put it out. What is that cat doing? Get out me van, cat! Hey? Right, we're lucky with this particular car because the airbag is separate to the dash, where on a lot of cars it's all one. So once the passenger's airbag go off, you have to replace the whole dash. 213mm nuts comes off, and then this will disconnect, but obviously we've got the wire behind it. We have to be careful. Get this off, there we go. There's our connection behind it. Hopefully this one isn't melted, otherwise we're in trouble. Nope, that one's not melted, so that's a good sign. So what I got, oh, cat's back. Oh, if I could just press the horn now. Oh, I can do. He didn't jump. I just put that, I put the driver's airbag in just to get it out of my way so I don't damage it, and it's out of the way. It's not connected, so it's still going to be a fault. It's not going to go off because it's not connected. But all right, Castrol, how's it hanging? Hey, so just disconnect this, put the new one in. Oh, you knave.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Not that majestic as a cat, are you? Oh, there you go. Cat's gone. This is the new airbag, that's the old one. I can't show you how to take the connection off that one because it's too awkward, but I can show you on this one. Very simple, just like the other one should be. You pop the yellow bit out, so you can do it one-handed. Just pop the yellow bit out like that, and then the whole thing comes out. Simple as that. The yellow bit is the locking focus, the yellow bit is the locking tab. Maybe they didn't know that in the scrapyard, that's why they cut it off, because they didn't cut the other one off. And that's it. Really as simple as that. That's the way the driver's one should have come off, but obviously it's just completely melted. So let me just disconnect that, connect this one back in. We have completely disconnected the module, keys out the ignition, like I said, disconnect the battery. Then what we will do is we will take the seat out. I'm not going to show you taking the seat out, it's just 4 bolts, but once I actually get to the seat seat belts, I will show you. It's just 1 bolt and a clip. I mean, that's all it is. And the igniter, because what happens is when that igniter goes, shoves the seat belt back, so if there is any slack in your seat belt, it pulls it back and it stops you from going as far forward. Right, and look at that, absolutely perfect. So 2 bolts underneath there, 2 13mm bolts, and the way to put it back on is exactly the same way. Make sure the yellow tab is out, make sure you get it the right way. I don't know if that is, maybe it's this way, is it? Yeah, that way, and then just push the yellow tab down. And there we go. And you can see what it does. Now the seats can be a bit of a nightmare to get off. We can actually just take this cover off on both sides. It's a T15 torque, but once we actually do that, we can see the bolt down there. Actually that's maybe a T40, and we can actually undo it and unclip it without even taking out the seats. And we can also now see what happens. So if you see the length of this rope here, and you can see how short it is on that one, so it's already, that's how you know it's been fired. You can see from this lifting up, it slides down in there, so you can tell it's been fired. But I mean, the scan tool shows that anyway, but with it being an accident, you know it's been fired. So yeah, I'll tell you what torque that is once I get it out. You can see there's some Loctite on it, so we'll put some Loctite back, and yeah, that's it really. 1 clip, 1 bolt, and off it comes. Right, so as you can see, it easily fits in. Disconnect the plug by lifting this red thing up and then pushing down on this clip, and this will disconnect the plug here. But as you can see, that will easily fit in there, and saves me taking out the seat. Right, and there you go, you can see the difference. It's actually a bit more than that. Look, you can see how much that one's been pulled back. So this is a little locating tab, just goes back. Get all this on camera, I might not be able to. Just goes back in there, put the bolt in, a bit more Loctite, and there we go. And this is the old one. Again, you want to mark this one, even though these are a lot more obvious to tell because they're shorter here, but still you want to mark it somehow in some way so you know that this is the bad one. You can also see the difference between the 2 seat belts. Look, that one is like 2 inches past the seat, and this one's like 3 inches above the seat. So they do move down quite a lot. which is good because, like I said, that really pushes you back into the seat if your seatbelt's that little bit loose, and it stops you from going too far forward. So when you're putting these clips back in, it is a lot easier to take this out, but be very careful because these two little tabs can get caught and you can break these very, very easy, and they are important. So just be very, very careful. Right, it was T50 Torx for the main body of the seatbelt. I've now put the new module in. We've got the new airbag modules in, we've got the seatbelt modules in, we've got the driver's airbag sitting in, but it's not connected because obviously we know the issues we are having. So I should now theoretically be able to turn this on and that airbag won't go off. Now this is always a nervous moment because you just don't know if you've got everything right, or if there's another issue somewhere, if there's wires touching somewhere you don't know. There could be loads of issues why an airbag could still go off. Even though I've replaced everything for this car to stop that from happening, you are still never 100% sure. So I'm going to film this because if it goes off, we might as well get it on film. This one's not going to go off, so I'm okay with that one because, like I said, it's not connected. But that one, you just don't know, potentially could. So I'm just going to keep the camera on there, and I'm going to turn the ignition on, and we're going to see, you should see the ignition come on in the middle of the dash.